self-made artist is super, super hard. We often, I mean, the balance between self-loathing and the small glimpse of success where you know you did right. When I started it, when I bought it, it was in France, and I left it on the table, and my friend Karl Kopinski, he just stole it, and he did the first drawing, and it's been horrible, because ever since when you open your sketchbook, you're just like, oh fuck.
Reads the stake, basically.
But yesterday it became even worse, because Kim Jong-gi made the last one, and he said, now it's Karl and Kim and Jesper as a sandwich. So I'm gonna keep this forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You work for Magic for how many years now?
Since 2005.
Okay, so 17 years
Yeah,
almost?
something like that.
If you would try to get into Magic today, how would you actually approach that?
I tried for 7 years to get into Magic when I was young. And I did all the stuff you just said, plus 5 or 6 different approaches. I think the problem, if you can say that, for new people to get into Magic is that Magic is an institution for fantasy art, which means they can pick the best artists in the whole world, and that competition is super hard. What I think is the only reason why I was able to get into Magic was because I was not technically, or still am not technically as good as some artists who has been working on art school for a long time, learned all the tricks, learned how to paint oil. So what I thought always that I had to be better and different. So my approach was always, at least I can tell stories. So I followed that and tried to make every picture a little bit interesting story-wise. You look at the story and not necessarily on my technical skills.
Yes, and I also believe when someone looks at your work, there is always a story focus, which I think makes also your work very strong.
Oh, thanks.
I remember, for example, the one where you have this top-down view of this knight who's facing danger, and there was not so much into the frame, but it told so much story, right?
Yeah. If you're a young artist and you want to get into Magic, you already have to compete against the top 150 artists in the world, which is very hard when you're a young artist and not as much experience. But if you have great taste in telling stories, if you have great and very unique designs or feeling for design, that's something that does not take years and years of skill practice. It just takes personality. But that's part of the personality, I think. So I think the most important thing is to stop trying to be good and stop trying to make it look beautiful, but try harder to dive into what's your personal view and angle, and just go with that. Because in the end, that is your best-selling book.
And it makes you also unique from...
Yes. And like Evan was doing a talk yesterday, where she talked about that exact same thing, because she's very young. She said she only started actually painting and drawing 5 years ago. She's already done 30 Magic cards. So it's not about the technical skills per se. It's about her very, very good taste and angle and storytelling. And that's what made her like a rocket. Right?
Is there still a learning part for you in your work? Like after doing...
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it and the horror of it, right? You never get to a point where you're just happy or where you're saying, now I'm good enough, I don't need to learn anything. If you do that, then you die.
I think Sid Mead also said it, right? Like this is the most toxic thing for any artist. Like your artistic mind will die.
But it's also, your interest in what you do shifts from year to year. Today I did a sad fox, and when I was 25, I might have done an angry, aggressive fox. I talked to my very good friend Carl Kopinski about how our motifs and personality has changed over the years, and we talked about when we were younger, we would have made a picture of Conan the Barbarian, with a cut-off head and aggressive on top of the mountain, bloody sword, yelling at the wind, right? And now we're both more like, he has a cut-off head, but he's looking at it sadly, like, why did you make me kill you? It's a different focused on the narrative, it's focused on the emotion rather than the visual.
And it has a much more deeper storytelling also.
Yeah, or at least my interest in what I'm telling is more human connection, more human trouble, more, and I think that changes constantly. So my technical ability must also change so I can paint this. I used to paint very, very strong colors, and I'm more and more diving into natural colors. Not with this one, but I'm more and more trying to, instead of shooting all over the picture, I'm just shooting one bullet, the right spot.
It has a lot to do with your personality, which is changing, but it also has to do with you getting more mature, older experience of your life, I guess.
Yes. I'm glad you said that, because it has to do with your personality, yes, but a lot of people tend to forget that or think that, but I just gotta work hard. That's not the case. You gotta work right, and the right way to work is to do what feels right for you, and that's almost impossible to teach, because it's so easy to say to people, oh, you shouldn't use black and shadows, rim light has to work like light, you should use bounce light, I mean all the technical stuff, it's something that's easy to talk about, but talking about you have to use your sadness because you were hurt as a child, put that into a painting. That's why the fox is. I mean, it's something. It's very personal. It's hard to talk about, or difficult to talk about, and some people won't talk about it, or will not think that it's a part of their art. But when it becomes a part of the art, it becomes true.
I think that was the most amazing ending of that video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh.